I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming, and I reap what I done sown.
Here lies the unhoused soldier killed in the undeclared war on the poor. The politicksters and police sweep us so people don't have to see us. Believing the colonizer lie, we are trash to be swept up. Unhoused bodies violated and exposed. Tents stolen. Belongings no longer privileged to have or own. Politickster and police brooms and trucks held together with guns and bloodstained bucks. So we end up incarcerated for just being houseless, still alive, and yet reduced to junk. Here lies the unhoused soldier killed in the undeclared war on the Po, funded by the capitalist dreams of hoarding land, stealing more and mo. Here lies the unhoused soldier killed in the undeclared war on the Po, just trying to live outside, to hide in a bus bench away from your eyes, a park bench, or out of the rain in a door. Yeah, this podcast from a poverty scholar is in honor of all of us swept up, unkept up, never checked up, missed, always dissed folks struggling to stay unseen in corners, in doorways, trying to stay the F out of your capitalist dream. This podcast from a poverty scholar is in honor of the houseless mamas and elders looking out from cages. Yes, I said cages. Fences, jailhouse trash cans from Sri Lanka to St. Petersburg, walking humbly on Mama Earth, not to hurt, but always staying alert for police, politicksters, and an endless amount of capitalist perps. As part of the release of Poverty Scholarship, poor people led theory, art, words, and tears across Mama Earth. A poor and houseless and disabled people's textbook of our lived knowledge, not just learned, impacted people's actionable solutions and our own liberation medicine on philanthropy, budget violence, poverty, homelessness, service provision, education, healing, and solutions like the Bank of Community Reparations, radical redistribution, and the medicine of homefulness, and so much more. Poor Magazine Poverty Scholars set up a holistic sliding scale tour. Basically, academia supports the travel of our unhoused and poor bodies so that we can go to different cities in this occupied Turtle Island and do Poverty Scholars Theater of the Poor, theater and poetry workshops, sharing the medicine of homefulness and people school with fellow poverty scholars in the same town. Because privileged folks and po folks, we all caught in this lie. Sadly, the tour is only 1/8 done. Yeah, we've gone to LA and occupied Seminole Territory, Florida, and we poverty scholars are already deep in triggered pain. The LA tour was amazing, and we shared love at the Skid Row Museum with the Los Angeles Poverty Department, that's LAPD, Radio Justice Comrades, and Tia Chuchas in Silmar with our folks, which was all magical, beautiful medicine. Folks just like us up here in the Bay are all struggling with that war on our poor people's backs. Then we went on to Tallahassee and St. Petersburg, first stopping in places and spaces where the anti-poor people hate is beyond words. Occupied Seminole Territory, where in Tallahassee you have AKKdemia like Florida State University using, abusing, and fetishizing Seminole culture as part of their mascot system for all their sports teams, creating strange, fetishized white people with face paint and pop culture appropriated dreams. Shout out to all the conscious students who we met with the conscious liberators in academia trying to make sure that our stories were told and that our medicine was shared. And the work that they continue to do, I'm sure, will come back there. But then we went on to St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay, where there not only are legislations in place to incarcerate, arrest, and test every poor person they can get, just like they have in San Francisco, Oakland, LA, New York, and pretty much every city across this occupied Amerikkklan. But in Florida, they've taken it to a new, terrifying level.
At the people cage, you've probably never seen a people cage. They're only in a cage because they are homeless. 2 blocks down the street. And so, you take the pizza. Everybody take one. And they take the...
People cages. You heard right. People cages. A non-profiteer calling themselves CARE, acronym C-A-R-E, located in St. Petersburg, Florida, has literally set up cages on the sidewalk outside their center for unhoused folks to sleep in. The cages are locked at night, literally incarcerating all of the houseless folks in, and at 6 a.m. gates are open. So they throw us houseless folks onto the street. And of course, folks who are listening who might not know, this is actually the standard way of the anti-social work case manglement shelter system in Amerikkklan, where they're low-level jails. You come in at 5 or 6 o'clock, doors are locked, and you get thrown out in the day. But this is on a new level. So in addition to indigenous brown babies from the other side of the false colonial borders, this stolen land, Amerikkklan, has officially created cages for houseless poverty scholars. This, of course, is in a city that has made it illegal to lean on a building while houseless. Check into previous Poor News Network poverty scholars speaking from the Poor People Economic Human Rights Campaign tour last summer. But lest you think this is dystopian sci-fi horror movie only happened in St. Petersburg, think again. Berkeley, hip-hop-crazy California has a new law added to the already over 100 laws that make it illegal for houseless folks to put a backpack on the ground. And in San Francisco, as we already know from Poor Magazine Research Ruthless Radio reporters, but now confirmed by the police last week in a hearing called by Supervisor Matt Haney, the SF police under the current woman of color mayoral administration has continued their violent sweeps of unhoused bodies and belongings, even throughout this cold rain and freezing weather. In previous podcasts by this poverty scholar and Poor News Network KEXU radio reports and stories on poormagazine.org, we have reported on the intentional end of poor people housing by politrickster moves from Ed Lai to New York. So I won't repeat myself today, and rather I ask you all who are listening or reading who might be housed to listen to the hard work, to watch and to read the researchers and the researcher reports, to listen and to read to the poverty scholarship. Because honestly, it isn't our job to keep reminding you, begging you with more and more trauma porn. Yeah, it's actually on you to shift the gaze to yourselves. The housed. Those of you who are conscious housed, who aren't down with sweeping humans like we were trash, naming us with an endless list of hygienic metaphors and caging our unhoused bodies like we were rabid animals. No, conscious folks, the responsibility of shifting the upcoming dystopic horror movie narrative where all us poor, brown, black, disabled, and indigenous peoples are incarcerated, hated, arrested, and caged is actually your problem. These things are all done in your name. You're the stakeholders, the taxpayers, the landowners. So stop, please, expecting the politricksters to change. Stop only fighting by going to city council meetings and voting for more and more legislations and charity models and government solutions and acronym-filled programs like the Opportunity Zones. This is actually and equally your fight, and the work, responsibility, and love is yours as much, if not more, than it is ours as the impacted people. To assist you in this consciousness and action shift, us poor folks are creating a space for all of you in an upcoming prayer, presence, and rally of the housed for the unhoused, where we hope to fill the streets with as many housed bodies as possible who are collectively saying no to more sweeps, cleaning, caging, and stealing of our poor people's bodies, belongings, and lives. And Mama Earth needs to stop being bought and sold and plimped and played as a profit-making project. As stated many times by this poverty scholar, the buying and selling of Mama Earth is the root problem of homelessness, displacement, and gentrification. In addition to all of the other work we do to educate and liberate and manifest another way, us youth and family houseless and formerly houseless poverty scholars at Poor Magazine and anyone else who wants to join us will be releasing a research report on all the vacant, privately owned properties in Weechene, Oakland, which could be potential homefulness projects. In other words, vacant Mama Earth, which would need to be purchased with radically redistributed, hoarded, stolen, and or inherited wealth so it could be permanently, spiritually, and legally unbought and unsold. In the end, we activating a change of the gaze from us, the poor people, the victims of this increasingly violent war on our unhoused and poor bodies, because it has to be changed, because the horror movie can't actually come true, because the cages need to be completely and firmly closed and no humans put inside. And like everything else, it's up to all of us to change the script. Not someone else at some other time, but all of us together. If you'd like to reach Poor Magazine to join us in any of these actions, you can email poormag@gmail.com. If you'd like to get a copy of the powerful Poor People's textbook that holds all this medicine, you can go to poorpress.net. And otherwise, please stand with us. The date for the March of the Housed for the Unhoused is tentatively set at Friday, May 24th in Frisco, occupied Yelamu, and Oakland. Please stay tuned, please stay woke, and please stay informed.
Dollar, that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your